Okay, good afternoon, folks. Hope everyone is well. Everyone's had a relaxing weekend. Ready to go again this week. So we've had a fair amount of volume for a change overnight. So we've had like a couple of pushes up. We're going a bit sideways here. Just wondering whether we're going to get some kind of a triple test here. So we've got a channel like that. We need a new low, really. It's hard to say, really, because we didn't quite get up to these highs. So we may have had a move up. Maybe this is 2 attempts of a break, possibly. It's a bit hard to say. There was a higher low on this chart here. Where was it? There. I was tempted to take that, but it's just that there's just quite not enough price action, and it's a little bit earlier. So we'll see how we get on. See if we get a second entry, maybe. Yeah, there's only a few watching, actually. I thought I'd set my stream. I hadn't done, which is why there's only a few hooked up. I've literally just done it, so my apologies. Mm. See, there is a second entry long there. That bar broke below there. I just don't like it at the moment. It's a little bit sideways. It's just a wee bit early. We got a channel there with a break. We haven't made a new low from there, so this may just drop below. Trouble is, it's a bit hard to say what's going on here now, because whether this was just a little bit of a loss of momentum. We came down to the bottom, and we didn't even get to that midline. So I don't know what's going on here, whether there's a start of a downtrend, whether it's just a big range. I got no idea. With this pushing up, my guess it cleared these areas and then had a pullback and still tried again. So whether it's going to test all-time highs again, it's hard to say. We've had these two legs up and a little bit of sideways. So my guess it's more than likely going to test these highs, but there's no guarantees. So channel break, new low, bar's no good. But we are testing this line, I will say. Is if I bring this down there, it's bouncing multiple times, really. I'd like a significant push off this, but drop below all this. That's no good. The bar's no good anyway. Trouble is, you don't know whether it's the start of something like that, or whether it's the start of something like that. We just don't know yet, really. We could have a leg down and a leg down. I doubt it, but I still think there's a chance we push up. But that third time we got up, we didn't get to the top, so it's just a bit early, really. So know for sure what I think's going on. Especially now it's done that. That's the trouble. See, it's just lacking up with momentum. I've just got this 3,000 tick chart on here. I know Dan looks at this. He talks about it, so I might just give it a look and see what it shows us. It's a bit hard to say. Could be a fell break out of here, but the trouble is with lots of momentum, it's just hard to say what I think is going on. But we have cleared out any possible liquidity here and here, so we could get a strong move back into this. It's hard to say. So I'm just going to do that. There is a lot of buyers around the 77 level down here. See this, the 5 minute kind of looks like a triple test, doesn't it? A lot of support around there. It wouldn't be the worst place to go along there. 2 legs back. Well, you could go 2 legs back. There's definitely support there, so I won't be surprised if this thing takes off. Unfortunately, we've got no signal bar really. It does look like it's on its way. Trouble is, just not confident we're going along at the moment, especially when we had this double bouncy and this push up. We only got 3/4 of the way up, so I'm just not super confident this thing's going to take off upwards. We could still work down. It's so hard to say at the moment. So we've had a break out of this, and now we've back in and immediately dropped straight back out. So this is losing that upwards momentum for me. So so we've had 2 legs out this. I don't know. I feel confident going along there, to be honest with you. I'm just going to have to sit tight here. Yeah, so Dan's looking at possible this. Yeah, kind of. This is just looking like a range, I think, so far. See, I've got a gap on my chart. Dan hasn't on his. Anybody else got that gap up on their chart? I haven't on my second chart. First chart I have. See if we can get a second entry short up here. May not with that bar though. It's quite a bit of rejection there. We've pushed straight up to that AMA, just tick shy of it, and then instantly dropped. Yeah, I had my suspicions whether it was going to tick below there. Yeah, my guess is this thing's coming down to test this area. I'm just looking at Bookmap, and there are orders down to 72 down here. So I'm guessing price is going to target this area probably. Now, whether it'll just drop out there, it may do, or whether we'll get some form of a pullback. Tough one. Possible overshoot. I don't think there is. It's fitting really nice on top of that. You can see multiple touches there, and here, and here, and here. Does look like it's about to drop out of there. Very bearish bar there, then down to the bottom. Another bearish bar right at the bottom. I actually prefer that. I like the way it's fitting nice on that the mid line. need 2 legs up to here, really. So, channel, break, new high. So, I'd be looking for a short somewhere. Not here, though. Channel break, new high. It's a tough one, that. Depends which chart you're looking on. If I'm looking at this straight lines, Tat, how you doing, buddy? If I'm looking at this, you may argue there's an actual channel there. There's kind of 3 bars there with a little bit of sideways and a new high, but you just got to be careful. I'd have to avoid this, I think, because if I look on the left chart, it doesn't look too bad. Now, if this is a channel, it could certainly work its way to the top anyway. So this you can see both sides of that. Unfortunately, nothing's concrete in this business, and that's the trouble, really. There's always pros and cons, isn't there? Now and again, you'll get an absolute sitter, something that just jumps at you, but there's so many sort of possibilities. So channel break, new high, or a possible channel. Who knows? Got no signal bar for a trade anyway, so even if I had one, couldn't do anything. See, I'm looking at orders at 70, at 72, so I'm expecting price to come below this line. 70 and 72. So this is the perfect area to target. So if I'm looking at this on Bookmap, you can see those orders there. They're between sort of 70 and 72, which is right around this line. It's below that liquidity there. So if we can get a second entry short here, something to push down, there's plenty of space down. There's not that much up here. So that's kind of my thought process. It does look like it's coming down. It is look very rangy. It's cleared every other bit of liquidity bar here. Now we had 2 legs up. We had a bounce here. So there's quite likely going to be liquidity there. So channel break, new high. Looking for kind of maybe a second entry short off here. Trouble is, depends how you look at this. If you're going for something like 2 legs, it may need to come up a bit more. So there's always a possibility it triggers you, pushes up a bit higher, maybe to this level, and then drops. So I'll have to be a bit careful here. But there's bound to be traders in there. So if this thing does push down, it's certainly got some liquidity to take out. It doesn't look terrible on this chart, but on here, inside bar. So my guess is I'd prefer it to go a little bit higher. It is tempting, I got to say. But I'm just going to hold myself, and it could be a failure, see, as well. Short failure, trapping some shorts. Having said that, it is generally bearish at the moment, currently at the moment, but I would just hold me position here and just stay out of this just at the minute. I mean, if you really liked it, you could jump in here for on a limit order, and probably will come down, but it's just not very good on this chart. There's nothing you can do. So, well, it is working. If it gets, well, there you go. So I know there was liquidity there. So, 3,000 tick chart as well, second entry short, but it's just one of those things. It's a leg with a break. The trouble is, there's always a possibility it could come up and test some support up here, which means it may clear a bit of liquidity, and that will give it two actual legs. But then, so for me, safest option will be lower high, especially with the inside bar here. But it never happens. So what do you do? See, I was very tempted to get that on a limit order back here. See if we can get a second entry on this side. I don't think we're going to. I think it's just going to drop. Second entry short up here would be nice. Come on, pull back. That's frustrating. Okay, that's kind of where I expected it to go. Somewhere around between 70 and 72, which is where it was on Bookmap. Around about here, it's picked off some of them. There's a little bit left just below the 70. Also, this area here we've bounced off. I still think it'll push below it. But by the looks of this, if I look at Bookmap, my gut feeling is it's quite likely going to test this area. So 60, 62, which is the overnight lows. There's 60, there's 65. So it's around about 62 and a half, the overnight lows. So those orders, right, 62, yeah. So those orders are around about there. So my guess is it'll probably work its way down. See, I've got a gap on my chart. I don't think everybody has. I looked at Dan's chart earlier. He hasn't got a gap. I haven't on my left chart, but there's obviously one there. But my guess is it's probably going to close that gap up, hit that level, and fit. But so it has finally broken below there. So we do get a small pullback now before it continues down. I dare say there's probably some profit taken there. So it'd be nice to get some kind of a pullback and find a way in somewhere. There's one or two got a triple test. I haven't. Barsnaff. It's not fantastic there, to be honest with you. He's got a much better option. That looks a lot nicer. Push up to that EMA and drop. Just wasn't ideal, was it? Yeah, now I look at it a bit more, it doesn't look too bad. Let's have a look, see how everybody else has done. Oh my good grief. Alpine's just been battered. He's just lost all his PA accounts. He's really having a bad run. Okay, we've come down to this area and pulled back. This doesn't look like a channel to me. There is a second entry there. It's just not a massive fan of this at the moment. Maybe a little channel there. It's hard to say. It's not super clear. I'd have preferred to come up here a little bit. There's a bit of a gap there where the price could move into. Leg and a leg. Especially as we've kind of had a bounce close to this area. Maybe a lower high there. I don't like this. we may have a channel with a break and a new high, so it may trap the lower high and push up. I'm staying out of this at the moment. I don't like this. This looks like a trap to me. If it triggers, it may push up to the top. Channel with a break. It's just that it's come down too far for me, that has, anyway. It's not even 2 points of the lows, I don't think, if you want to tick below there. So if you've got a tick below there, you wouldn't even get a 1.5 out of that, because you'd have to push through. It may come down, it probably will, but I go for 3 points, so I'm going to be down here somewhere. It's just too rich for me. I'd want this up here somewhere. Just this looks a bit trappy to me. Not like that. The move's mainly gone. Darryl, how you doing, bud? See you there, mate. Sorry. So it went down 2.25. That's where it'd have to get down. Well, there you go. It went down, stopped it out. So you'd have got You'd have got 2 points out of that anyway. I just don't... I'd like to see... Well, there you go. That's what I'd like to see. A break and a new leg. And then find some sort of rejection up here. So, trouble is, we've bounced twice now at this level. So it's hard to say. Okay, so we're at the key entry point now. No, the one on the left... Hold on a minute, that's a good question, actually. No, it shouldn't be. Hold your horses. CME. Index futures. Should be index futures. Hold on a second. That's it. Yeah, I've changed those now. The main difference with this one, if that's what you mean, is break at end of day is deselected, which makes it slightly different. I don't know whether that's what you meant, was it? Speedy, how you doing, bud? Still got the gap down here, so yeah, so trying to break new. There's a bearish bar here. Well, there isn't. There could be. It's hard to say. We've had a bounce there, so you don't know, is this a range or is this going to continue down, or are we going to have a correction and this is going to come down some more? It's hard to say, isn't it? We've got to move down 2 legs up. Has anybody else got that? It's all right, mate. Has anybody else got the break there? That's see, this is showing as the open. We gapped up to the open. On this, it's not showing as a gap. I don't know why it is on here. Break at end of day. This is my main chart. This shouldn't show that, I don't think. A couple of people have got it, but sure about that one. You have the same. Okay, how you doing, H? You got the gap. Yeah, okay. Mine has the gap as well. Yeah, it's all right. Dan showed me his chart earlier. He's never had the gap. A few others did, so I don't know what. So I haven't on my second one, but that's breaking. Unless he was, he might have just shown me his second chart. That's probably what it was. It's all right. We've had a couple of bounces there. I'd like to fill that gap, especially as we're coming down. So I won't be surprised if we get a break here and then fill that gap. It makes sense as we're coming down. It's just when we'll get it. Well, if this is a nice fitting channel and we're not just bouncing off range bottoms, I expect at least a little bit of sorry, a little bit of a maneuver. Maybe something like that. And then down. Somewhere along those lines. I wouldn't expect just that down. Trouble is, sometimes you get too early after a break. It triggers you, pushes up a bit higher, clears, recent liquidity, and then eventually drops. Trouble is, it's so. If we just push up in, we bounce a couple of times, we push to the highs and push to the lows, and it's obviously a range day, and we can see that at the end of the day. But in real time, I like that. It fits nice. Bars fit nicely around the midline. This is a clear break. You'd more likely expect it to clear to test the lows, but obviously a break, a trade reasonably sized like that, I'd expect a little more. It's not huge. It's 27 points. I'd expect more than just that and straight down. That's the trouble sometimes. As soon as you get a break, I used to be eager to look for a short, and half the time it would trigger you and then push up and stop you out, and then it would do this a couple of times and then eventually work its way down. So the bigger the channel, the more scenic route it tends to take. So there's the example. If you think now we're coming down, let's just jump in here. We've pushed up. We've got a break new high. Let's go down. What happens? It triggers you. It moves up. Might not stop you out, but my guess is it probably will. It's been slow lately, trading. I've got to say, it's just been boring lately. I found the last couple of weeks, it's been so damn boring. Just not a huge amount of setups. So channel break new high. I mean, there's always the possibility if we've had a double bounce sort of thing off these sort of the lows here, that it may end up doing something. Some along those lines. You never know, really. I'd certainly expect it to push up above this, clear this, maybe this, possibly even here, certainly this area. I'd certainly expect price to get up to there. Okay, so we've had the channel with the break and we've broke that level. So let's see how far this thing wants to go. But based on the channel, I still expect it to come down. But as we've had a bounce there, you never know whether buyers are going to come in there or not. There's orders at 60. which is right down here after filling that gap. 80 and 82, there are orders up here. So I still think there's a good chance this thing goes down. There are a lot of orders sat down there, so around about the 60 to 62, which is just below this and below that level there. So fill in the gap. And as we're down here filling the gap, we have a little drop, clear out this, and then obviously it's free to make its own mind up. So that's what I would, my thought process would be that it's likely going to come down. And that makes sense with what I'm seeing. But there's always a possibility I'm completely bloody wrong. It wouldn't be the first time, and we end up doing something like that. So as much as I'd like to see prices come down and retest the lows and possibly fill that gap, there's no guarantees it's going to. So looking for any old short here is not what I want to do. If you look at this there, we've got a channel with a break, 2 pushes to a new high, bearish bar, about to be some shorts going down there. And now we've come down a bit, we're pushing up. So you just never know how much higher this thing may go before it comes down, if indeed it does. Excuse me. Or that could be the top of the tree, and whatever else it does, it doesn't get back to this and eventually finds its way down. So channel break new high, or break new high, and maybe 2 pushes. Yeah, see, there is just some orders, not a huge amount at 80, so it may just push above this. And it may not. But I'm just going to sit tight and just give it that little bit of space, because there is orders there, and there could be sell orders there waiting to push it down. So channel with the break, 2 pushes, who knows? Sometimes I wish I'd never started looking at Bookmap, but it has saved me. It helps my decision making staying out of trades as opposed to getting in them. I don't use it to get in them or where price is likely to go when I'm in profit. I just look for areas where I may be going short and there's a ton of orders right above where my stop's going to be. We've all heard that David Paul said, if you just put your order where your stop is and wait and see what happens. And it kind of makes sense. So if you were going to short here, your stop would be above here. And hey presto, there's a chunk of orders sat right where your stop is. So surprising how often that actually works. So if I'd have taken channel break new, if it had taken that short there, it only went down a point, so you wouldn't have even scalped a point, I don't think. Usually it's got to push through, and all of a sudden we're pushing up now. So you can guess where it's going to target. Now, whether this thing's going up in a spiking channel, or I prefer to use the term it's clearing liquidity before it makes its next shove down. And I'm looking at these orders here at 80 as well. Not a huge amount above, but then big orders down there. So my guess is it's going to pick up some sell orders in a bit. Yeah, So I'm looking at Dan's chart as well. He's basically got the same thing as me. Little double bounce, so you got to be a little bit careful there. Channel break, 2 pushes to a new high. It's now picked up some of that it's cleared that liquidity there and above here, picked up some of those sell orders. It's still a bit short actually, but it's cleared the liquidity anyway, so it depends whether there's a larger amount of orders coming in. I'd still like it to hit that 80. And then if it does make that move below the EMA, I'd be quite confident to short it then. So we've got channel with a break, 2 pushes to a new high on this chart, on the left chart. So that's played out. Now, obviously, there's that possibility that there may be something a little bit larger there. You never know. I certainly wouldn't rule that out. But I'd be interested to see what happens when it hits that 80 level. As I say, break, just this and then down. Doesn't happen on a big chart down there, so I'd be still looking for it to test the lows, but not until it's picked up that. Or certainly had a good go at picking those up. There are no guarantees. I'd like it to hit that level, give us a bearish bar, and then a lower high. So channel break, 2 pushes to a new high, bearish bar. Still got to be a bit careful just in case there's a spike in channel. As long as those orders are sat there, I'm suspicious. This thing took a dump. Okay, let's hit this 80 area and then see where we go there. Trouble is, that doesn't look terrible, does it? Triple test. Yeah, I like triple tests. The thing is, if you get a really good triple test, a strong one, they really move quick. Trouble is, at the moment, I looked at that there, a triple test there, and then it triggered and started to push up. So that tells me it's likely going to trap that and push up. As it's pulled down a little bit and already started working up. And the trouble is, why I wouldn't take that is because it looks like a possible spike and channel. But after this move down, there's two scenarios. We expect a new low, or because it's had a bounce twice off the overnight lows, we could be in a range and it may be moving up. So at the moment, I don't know whether this thing is going to continue on up or whether it's going to hit certain levels, certain liquidity levels up here, 82, which is around here, and then decide. So there's sellers up there, passive sellers. So if they're thinking, okay, let's give this, clear out some of this liquidity, and then we'll go short to retest the lows. So if you'd have took that triple test, trigger just stopped you out. So at the moment, it looks like it's slowly going up. The trouble is, what I used to do, because of the channel down in the break, I would be looking for short straight away. Guaranteed I'd have taken that one, triggered me, stopped me out. Then I'd have probably taken that one, triggered me, stopped me out. That one didn't trigger, but I'd be looking for any option to go short. But because this looks like a spike and channel, I don't know what it's doing at the moment, whether this is valid and it's continuing up, and it may, when we get a spike and channel, often we'll do this. So I'm just aware of that. So sometimes we'll go like that, sideways, and then like that. Kind of very similar to what we do when we go down, across and down. So sometimes we'll rocket out the top. So at the moment, I got no idea what's going on really. All I know is it may come down and retest these lows, but because it's bounced twice at the lows, it may just decide to push higher. So there's a lot of times, unfortunately, when you're trading that you don't really know what's going on. You've got an idea, but it's just not super clear, so I just stay out of it. I used to jump into these trades all the time, but now I'm sort of a bit more paranoid. It's had a quick drop below there, so this may now drop. It's hard to say. We've hit kind of maybe levels of support here, so I've got to study what the best. Yeah, see, what I found is as your experience grows, you open yourself up to new ideas. So I used to avoid triple tests. I never used to pay much attention to them, and then I used to see Dan when he takes them. And what you'll find, or what I found, is when you get it, you get kind of, something like that, and then you get that type of thing. You get that, and it jumps out there and then comes down bearish. It sort of goes like that and then jumps down bearish. A lot of the time, if you get a good, strong triple test there, if you get something like that, a really good, strong triple test, often this thing rockets down and you get this channel with a correction, and then a channel. Usually, if you get a nice big bearish bar, they're worth holding on to if you've kind of got the nerve, because often they really push down strong, clear out any liquidity and just drop. But they're not always super clear to see. So it's just something I think you get a better eye the more you've been doing it. But as I say, I used to not pay attention to them, probably because I couldn't see them. I did look at that. But the trouble is, because we've cleared that liquidity, I don't know whether this is going to push a bit higher. So it's just a little bit congested. You could probably argue it certainly looks like it's reacted like it's a triple test, but it's a bit crunched up for me. That's why you can't just come in at the end of the day and mark up trades. Absolutely, you can't do it. You can't unsee a chart. When you've seen a chart, you know where to go. If there's about to be some trading around here. I didn't have a good bar, but if you'd have had a good bar, we may get a second leg or a lower high or whatever. But the trouble is, you never know where these things are going to go. But if I looked at a chart now, I could say, yeah, I go short there, or there's a lower high, I go short there, I go short here, triple test, I go short here. because we know what happened. But in real time, when you're looking at this, it's like, ooh, is it a bit congested? Could it trigger us and push up a little bit higher before it comes down? So it's really hard. And obviously, the more experience you got, the easier things become, but it really does take time. You know, sometimes I feel like a pig on roller skates. 1 minute you feel like you've got it cracked, and then the next minute, you know, but what I found is lately, over the last 6 months, I've been much more relaxed trading. I don't get the emotions so much. So many times when I used to have a loss, one of my biggest things that used to frustrate the hell out of me is when I had a loss, if I think I've been trapped to the downside, I'd immediately take a trade in the opposite direction. So many times it stops you out, goes up a few ticks, and then ends up going the same bloody direction. Just telling you, you've got in when it's a little bit congested or a little bit clear. You've got the direction right, but getting the direction right is important, but you obviously need to get that decent, strong correction or back here. And what I try and think is, am I going to get many other traders getting in with the way this looks? And if the more shorts you've got coming in there on a strong position, the more chances got coming down. If you're in with a bunch of other experienced traders, sometimes the price will just nick you and then come up, which is why this helps me stay out of trades. Can you see these orders down here at 67? Down here. So I still think there's a good chance this comes down to the lows. But you see these orders up here just below 80. It may push up again and, you know, have a couple of attempts and then drop it. It's not a quick process. It's slow. Little bits of knowledge and little bits of more experience. This is like a hands-on experience type thing. Sorry if I've gone on a bit, mate. I got a tendency, but when I got something on my mind, I tend to kind of want to speak it. Yeah, look, it's just put Max up here. So Max got that channel coming down, and you'd expect a test, but it does look like a spike in channel, so you don't automatically want to go short. And the only reason I've learnt that is by going short and getting trapped. And then you start to build up a picture. And what I found is if I'm looking at something, now I don't so much count. I just think, does the picture look good or does it look a bit risky? And if it looks risky, I leave it alone. And two things happen. I take less trades, and the trades I do take, I win more of them. But it does just come with time. The only way to learn these is just to trade them. You know, this is a hands-on game, really. You can't tell someone how to trade. You can guide them and look at their trades, their charts, and try and improve them. But it's unfortunately a hands-on job. You've got to do it every day and then slowly get better. But it's such a slow process and quite expensive one, which is why a lot of people give up. I would say to you, if you're relatively new, if you don't give up and just keep trying, you can't. It's impossible not to improve. You know, if you do your job, whatever you do, whether you're a carpenter, a bricklayer, or an accountant, if you do it every day, you'll get better at it. It's a fact. And the better you get at it, the more confidence and self-belief you'll be, and the less the losses will affect you. And when I get to that level, I'll let you know. But yeah, it's a hands-on. I know the reason I've got into it so much is I could see the potential. But I, like most people, thought it was going to be a lot easier than it was. That's why I gave up my job after a month. So don't ever do that. But, you know, the market's got a way of humbling you. You can't bully it. You know, you could be the best trader in the world. It doesn't mean it's going to roll over and give you easy setups. It's going to walk over you just the same as it does the next bloke. So spike and channel, possibly channel, break new low, maybe two legs and a push up again, test this area, or straight down. I don't know. So all you can really do is sit and wait for what you believe is a good setup and take it. It's as simple as that, really. The process of it is simple. Wait for what you believe to be a setup, take it, commit, and learn from it. You know, as the trade develops, you might go, okay, that's why that didn't work, because, you know, because of this or because of that. You know, but these channels and charts more or less do the same thing day in, day out. with the exceptions, sometimes they get choppy and they're a bit unclear, but for the most, they do kind of work in kind of, the same way, really. Take a triple test, go short, then lose. Then Mac, yeah. Don't be wrong, Mac's a lovely bloke, but I think, and I say this out of experience, now I've been trading nearly 5 years, so I've not been doing it for 6 months. I think it's detrimental, personally, and I don't mean that in a nasty way. I think part of the message that Mac brings over, unintentionally, of course, makes you realise that losses don't so much exist. There's always a reason, and there probably is to a degree, but one thing when you're guiding someone to trade, you have to go on to them about the losses. Now, whether they're down to just the way things are, whether they're down to lack of experience, I don't doubt Mac has a great trading record, but he's been trading 25 years plus. So when you're teaching new and experienced traders, you have to make it clear to him, losses happen, it's how you learn. But I used to get so frustrated thinking, why am I not seeing all these trades Mac's showing? So I think some of the ways that he teaches from a personal point of view, how it's affected me, I found it's been a bit detrimental. It's slowed my process and make it a bit more frustrating. I don't mean that in a nasty way. Some people are great traders, some people are great teachers. Some people are good at both. But, when you get experience, you can identify areas that you think that would have helped you. And, I watch a lot of other traders, sort of well-known traders or traders who've been trading for 40 odd years. And there's a resounding pattern from those experienced traders. You have to talk about losses. You have to talk about them because they will happen. And you have to get people prepared that it's okay and it's how you learn. But if you watch someone who never marks losses, who never, it gets your head thinking in the wrong direction. And I think personally, it makes it harder to show why not to. Absolutely. That's part of when you hear me talk, I'm not necessarily talking for your benefit, although it will help you sort of understand how I analyze things compared to how you do. Sometimes two heads are better than one. If there's two of you in a party and you're both discussing which way to go on the map, sometimes it's better if there's two of you because you get a second opinion and maybe a little bit of confidence. I always think if you learn with someone, you learn a bit better. But yeah, you have to. The one thing I think Mac's lacking, and he could really help people, is discussing what he's looking at and why he wouldn't take that trade and why he would. You've got to understand why Mac does what he does, but that bit is completely missing from his trading. All he'll show you is there was a long ear, there was a long ear, there was a short ear, there was a short ear. That's it. There's no discussion why you may not have taken that one. A lot of time I'm thinking, I'll talk about this or talk about that, but he just so it's tough, really, isn't it? It's tough. It's not easy. Trading isn't easy. If it was easy, everyone would be making a fortune. So you may argue channel break, 2 pushes to a new high there, triple test. It's possible. It's possible. But I don't know. Then there's a bearish bar here. Which just kind of takes place of that. But there's just something here I don't like the look of. That's one thing that helps you with time, not liking the way something looks. See, there's a possible failure there, which will trap that short. If I'm looking on Bookmap at the moment, I can see there's orders at just up here, just over 82. Now they may not get there, but while they're there, I don't like the fact that if I get into a short here, it may push up, pick those shorts up and stop me out. And that helps me more often than it doesn't, which is why I haven't taken a short here at the moment. because to me it doesn't look like it's, I don't know really, it's not super clear. Easy 15 trades with 9% win. Yeah, I dare say Mac's got a really high win rate. I don't doubt it. One, he only goes for a point. Even if you take a shit trade nowadays, sometimes you'll make a point. I'm not saying that he will, but he can cherry pick 2 to 3 trades a day with his 25 plus years experience and make money. I don't doubt it. But it takes you a long time. My opinion, making money out of a point is bloody hard unless you're very experienced. And not only that, it's mind crushing. You know, you take 4 winners. What are you up? 4 points. It's not unusual to lose 4 points in your 5th trade, and then you're in the red with commissions. It crushes your mind, I think, going for a point. Now, I could be completely wrong. I might be missing out. You know, I do respect Mac's opinion. I respect him as a bloke. But you know, I can have a comment now because I have been trading for nearly 5 years, so I'm not, you know, I'm not a complete novice. But I think a lot of what I'm saying is just common sense. You have to prepare people that losses are going to happen, because you have to be able to accept them. Because if you can't accept them, you're not going to initially. It's going to take you time. But if you can't accept them and it's not part of your package, you're never going to get used to them. But Mac never discusses, you might have got caught out here, you might have got caught out there, I wouldn't have taken this, blah, blah, blah. I would love him to say, now, although I've marked those, I would have took that one and that one. The rest I wouldn't have. But that bit is completely missing. For the life of me, I got no idea why. I've asked him a couple of times. He has said to me, it wouldn't help you. I disagree. Now, I'm not running the guy down as a bloke, but I think, you know, it's... You know, you can be best friends with someone but have completely different politics. So, you know, just because my best friend supports a different political group doesn't mean I've not got the utmost respect for him. And he's my best friend. But it's okay to have a different opinion. It's perfectly, you know, that's what life's about. His experience, and I don't agree with you. Are you on about you don't agree with me? We've all got slightly differing, you know, ideas of things. Yeah, that's kind of what life's about, isn't it? Oh, you're on about with Mac, yeah. Yeah. Life's kind of like that, isn't it? We're not all made out of the same cloth. We all have slightly different ideas of the way we look at something. You know, you can look at the same thing and kind of see it in a different way. You know, I'm talking about not necessarily years of experience. I'm more experienced in life, I think, now. I'm getting a bit old in the tooth now. I'm in the year 56. 56 years old, so I've been around a little bit, and you do get a bit of a general picture of life itself. And we do often see different things, but it's okay to not agree with someone. As long as you do it in a respectful way, that's fine. Mac's always respectful in what he does and what he says, but I'm okay to disagree with him. You know, I chat to Dan every day, but sometimes if he has a chart, I don't like it, I won't do it. It doesn't mean I don't respect the guy. So it's okay to say something doesn't feel right. I don't like the way you do this. That's perfectly fine. You know, we've all got choices, haven't we? Risk 4. Yeah. Now, do you know that the strange thing is, it's so obvious to me, if you look back on his videos and you see him take a trade and he's got a tick above and a tick below the signal bar and he's only risking a 1.5, I absolutely understand taking for a point. But we don't live in a world now. I mean, what's the ATR at the moment? So let's take a signal bar here. Where's a possible trade someone might have took? Let's just pick that one. I wouldn't have taken it. Let's just pick this signal bar. So, for instance, that's an average size signal bar. You go a tick below and a tick above, you're risking 2 3/4 points. ATR is relatively low. But, you know, you can shave a point plus off that on some of Mac's older videos. And these bars aren't particularly, you know, it's not unusual to get a bloody big bar. And that's the trouble, really. Sometimes until you take the trade, you know, I mean, that's 8 ticks at the moment, but it's not finished yet. How big's it going to be? So, you know, as I've said before, it's the cost, it's the price of doing business. If the price of taking this trade is going to cost me 3 points and my profit is a point, you've got to be accurate so much of the times. You know, if as I say, if I've said before, if I run a shop and I sell tins of beans and I buy them for 25 cents and sell them for $1, if the price goes up to 50 cents, I can't keep selling them for $1, because then when it goes up to 75 cents, do I continue to sell it? At some point, if your cost price is more, you have to put your profit up. So look at that bar there. Look, it's 12 ticks. It's not finished yet. Tick above, tick below. Your risk there is 14 ticks. To make 4, if you get that wrong, that's bloody expensive. You know, when you've been trading years and you're experienced, you'll get away with it. But when you're new, or even with a couple of 3 years behind you, you'll get crucified. You know, I used to go on to Dan and Marco when they were still doing 4 ticks. They go for 6 now, so they've gone 50% more. You know, so even they see there's still value in adjusting things compared to, you know, market prices and what have you. But yeah, I mean, if you get a 4 tick bar, let's say, for instance, you take this bar here, for instance, you want to ride it up, and it did work. That's the trouble. So if you go a tick below and a tick below, so you're risking, so let's say you've won 4 trades and you're 4 points up. If you lose your 5th trade, not only have you lost it, you're in the red. So you've taken 5 trades, you've won 4, lost 1, and you're in the red. That's going to cripple your mind as a new trader. My honest opinion, I think the starting point is 2 points. An entry system is not a trading system. A PATS is an entry system. Yeah, I get that way of looking at it. Yeah. See, unfortunately, we look for a certain move. Let's say 2 legs back. Now, a lot of traders, if they're trading here, as soon as price gets back up to this area, they'll put a short order in, put a stop up here, and try and maybe get 2 to 1. Not only do we wait for it to get to a certain area, we then wait for a signal bar. And if we haven't read that signal bar, our stop goes 1 tick above it. So we got no room for error. So it's very accurate. And when you get good at this, I don't doubt you can make a shit ton of money at it. It's a good system, but it does take a long time to really get to grips with. And a point for me is a complete non-starter. And Mac actually did come out and say, didn't he, maybe 8 months ago or something like that. I wish I could find that video. So you could call that a triple test. Would I want to go short at the moment? I'm not mega sure. It may come down. We've got a doji now, so he did come out and say if you can only trade 1 or 2 contracts, you've got to go for more points because the numbers don't work. If anybody can find that video, let me know. So, channel break, 2 legs up, triple test. I would prefer the lower high because we've got a doji there. It's just something about this I don't like at the moment. I'm looking at big orders. It's another reason not to take this bar. Orders around the 82, which is, funnily enough, just above that bearish bar there. Well, it's a doji, but it's certainly bearish on the left side. So it may come down, but my gut feeling is if I took that, I think there's more a chance I lose that. Rate and risk reward. Absolutely. Absolutely. You go for 5 points, you're going to win trades. You won't win as many trades as you will go for 2 points. But when you do win more, so I think they all kind of balance to a degree. Now, I like 3 points or 2.5 points. I think that's quite a good sweet spot. And I've a couple of times gone through the numbers. I've gone through my charts. I've gone through Mac's charts. I've gone through Dan's charts and Marco's charts. And I've worked out if I was going for a point, 2 points or 3 points, and it's a resounding. I worked out a lot more going for 3 points. Now, the only negative side to that is you have to let each trade run, and I don't always. But I'm guessing I won't always if I go for a point or 2 points. You know, sometimes a point you'll just get lucky. I mean, you go long in a bloody downtrend and you'll win a point. That goes in our heads. And you make more point per trade, even on the forum. People prove again for two times the risk, even with losses. Absolutely. I mean, 2 points as opposed to 1 point, you're making 100% more profit. I looked at Max Chart once and I went for every trade on it, and I think out of 105 trades, 103 of them went for over 2 points. And even if it happened every 3 trades, you're still doubling your profit every trade. It's an absolute. Why Max can't see that? I got no idea. I really, it's beyond me. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now. I'm going to start annoying people. No, it's beyond me. I don't get it. He's aware of if he gets into a trade and he's out here and it continues up. So same again, channel break, 2 pushes to a new high. Reason not to take that trade, although we've made a new high, is I can see those orders at 82, which have now triggered. Now, is this still coming down? It may do. But I don't know, in all honesty. It's a tough one. It's not super clear. Maybe so. I don't kind of like these channels that do this. But you may argue it's a kind of a, you know, we push up, we got a top tier, we come down, we got a bottom tier. So maybe it's a leg and a leg. Maybe we're just ranging. Who knows? Who knows? But experience, more experience you'll slowly start to filter out the shitty trades and the traps. I used to get caught in traps all the time. I just couldn't see them. But when you get caught in enough, you do start to spot them and you'll start to save yourself a few losses. And it just slowly gets better and better. But it's taken me, well, trading Pats next month, 4.5 years. Now, I think a lot of why I haven't made as much money as I have is because I've been risky with my trading. And silly, I think, is a fair comment. Not necessarily that I'm not capable. I know I can make money, but I haven't always taken as much care of it as I should have done. But hopefully that's the next section in my trading sort of career that I'm in now. I'm trying to focus more on just playing the game and not taking stupid risks, trying to rush things. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think more people are starting to look at this. That does seem to be the general consensus at the moment. I think it doesn't look that bad, actually, does it? The IC Taylor took a trade there. He usually goes for 12 ticks, so I think it worked. Didn't look very good on mine. 2 points. I don't know whether he got out. Well, where was his stop? I think it was a bit lower there. So his stop was here. He may not have caught that. Yeah, I wouldn't have taken short here at the moment because I'm just not sure whether this thing is going a bit higher or what. It certainly looks like it now, but as much as you think we're going to push down to the lows, when you make a double bounce right there and you break the lows, if it is ranging, buyers may just jump in there and ride this thing up, maybe to the top. You never quite know where it's going to go, really. No, he lost it. Toast. Thought he would. Yeah, it's just one of those ones. Yeah, you may argue channel test 2 pushes up, but I always avoid these and wait for maybe the lower high. You're a lot safer with that lower high, but I just get a feeling about trades. I do. Referring to Pat's video episode, start listening from. Let's have a look. He talks about, he says, if I remember rightly, because I was absolutely shocked to hear him say it. He says if you only can go for 1 or 2 contracts, you need to go for more points, otherwise the numbers don't work. But he's always kind of never said it again, which is kind of why I thought he may do. But now I haven't heard it for a while, I'm thinking I'd love to hear it again. Let me have a look. When Matt's going to retire. Oh, 21125. That one. 1752. I can't hear it. I'm assuming it's there, but isn't it? 021125 1752. So where are we on it? Let's bring it back to 1752. You guys should be able to hear that. You can let me know whether it is, and I'll take a photo of that.
Every day there's at least 2 or 3 or 4, a minimum of a couple anyway, of sure things. And the idea is to be patient and wait and let those come to you and then jump on them. And when you decide, once you start to be able to do that every day and consistently make money, the idea is not to take more trades, because every time you take a trade, you increase more risk of a loss. So you want to take the sure things, a couple of 3 or sure things, and instead of taking more trades, when you get ready to make more money, you increase your leverage, and you still just take 2 or 3 trades a day. That's all I ever take is 1 or 2.
Is that the
it's
one,
rare
Sean?
that I
Is
even
it?
take
Does he
3
mention
trades. Usually 1 or 2 trades, and I'm done. I meet my target, and I'm happy, and I'm done. I don't get greedy. I don't keep saying, well, I could make more money, or I could get rich. The idea, this is not a get rich quick scheme. It's to make you a salary, and you can make a nice salary, because you can get to where you can trade 20, 10, 15, 20, 25, maybe even 30 contracts. 20 is all I trade. Anytime I get over 20 contracts, my brain goes to mush, and I start making mistakes, and I start losing again. And that's the other part to this that I'll say.
I'll have a look later. Took a photo of it anyway. Talks about it later on. Yeah, I've took a photo of it, mate. I'll have a go later. Cheers, pal. Thank you very much. Okay, excuse me for a second. I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. Uses runners. Yeah, he does. He trades 20 contracts, scalps out 15 and uses 5 for a runner. Because when he mentioned that comment, he said if you can only go for 1 or 2 contracts, or words to that effect, you got to go for more points because the numbers don't work. So he, it's come from the horse's mouth, but he's never said it since, which is why I've been kind of, thinking I'd like to hear it again. Trouble is, even when you're going for a point, if you'd have got in here, it went up there for a point, came down, took out your runner and went up. If you'd have gone for 2 points or 3 points, it'd have gone up, pulled back, gone up, took your profit for 2 points and then carried on. So you got way more chance of having your runner work than going for a point. Yeah, he does. Yeah. So, going for 2 points or whatever, 2 points, 2.5 points, 3 points, if Matt went for that, then let's just have a look. So if Matt got in there, 1 tick above there, he went for a point, so he'd have been out now. So he'd have moved his stop to break even. Next bar came down, took his stop out. Now, if he'd have gotten there and gone for 2 points, he'd have been out there. So moved his stop to break even, came down, went up further. So you got more chance of it not hitting your runner. We're going for 2 points. So not only does it make you massive amounts more money, just on your scalp, 100% more on your scalp, you're going to make way more money on your runners. Because your 2 points is so much further away from where your stop will be than a point is, you got less chance of it hitting your runner. So personally, I don't see the logic, but what do I know? It's just my opinion, isn't it? But for me, it's common sense. So we push up into this top tier, drop down into this bottom tier. It's only really a first entry at the moment. You may argue there's a little break out of a. I'm just not sure at the moment. There's not a huge amount of space to the high, to the tops. Do I think this is going up? Yeah, probably. But you're never going to know where we might have something like this. Test the mid, the midline, and then up for a. So at the moment, it's very easy to think, okay, we do that and then do that, but that doesn't get us up to the top. So maybe it's that, and then maybe something like that. May go a bit higher, maybe something like that, and then we come down, test the midline, and then push above the highs. So it's very easy to sort of be a bit one-dimensional this, so I always kind of try and look at every different scenario. So that will only take us up to here. My gut feeling is it's probably going to go towards the tops, which that might be a better option. So who knows? Maybe I think too much. Yeah, I'll have a look at that video later. I'll look at the whole thing, but I'll watch the whole thing. I mean, it is at the EMA, prices at the EMA, but it's only really a first entry, but there's just no room to the highs. That's where it's going to go. You've got to push through that to make a point. So for me, it's just nothing at the moment. I'm just not interested in this. It's a little bit congested. Yeah. Yeah, see, Marco's just said 10 minutes ago, forgetting the new low now. So once it's come back and continued up above this area for me, it's less likely it comes down now. I mean, there's always the possibility. There's always the possibility. but it's pushed above that. It's at that 61.8 level at the moment. It may still come down, but my guess is it's continuing on up now. That's not to say we won't have some sort of a correction. So there's a possible higher low forming, but by the time this finishes, there's going to be less room to the top than there was there. And there was only a point there, but you'd have had to push a tick above it. So unfortunately, can't do nothing here either. As much as I got a good idea that it may continue up. See, we're already at the highs. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. But, you know, only going up to a point, it's 100% more profit. So, you know, even if it worked every 3 or 4 trades, still be worth doing it. But it doesn't. It works about 98% of the time. So it's an absolute no-brainer for me. Takes a little bit of nerve, I think, changing from 1 point to 2 points. I did when I changed from 1 to 2. And then I went from 2 to 3. You do have to sit there a bit longer. So, you know, but Mac's been doing it that way for so long. It makes him money, setting his ways. So, you know, I absolutely get the idea of if it's not broke, why fix it? Works for him. Take a loss, which is, yeah. You've kind of got to do what suits you. And I get it. Some people, you know, try to still do scalp a point. Some people do 6 ticks. Some people do 2 points. I know Thomas Wade tends to sort of go between 2 points and 3 points. I think it's more ATR depending. So I don't. What I think is if we get a good strong setup, usually the market will move more than enough for wherever anybody wants to go from. You know, you get a decent setup. I mean, I wouldn't have taken that, but depending on, you know, going into support there, if you took something like that, which, you know, in the grand scheme of things did seem to kind of work well, it went for plenty, you know. So there's, if it's a good setup, good setups do move and move really well. So if you've had a good setup, you know, I don't think there's nothing to be fit to fear of 3 points opposed to 1. Swing wise, hey, Kirk, how you doing, buddy? I've seen 3, 4 doesn't swing so far this morning. I took considered every one of them. It's fatiguing. Yeah, yeah, it is, isn't it? It's very hard sometimes to control yourself. I can do it now. Mostly, it's rare I do something uncontrolled now. But it's just taken time. But yeah, when you see these moves, I've got to say, seeing a trade go that I decided to leave doesn't bother me anymore, because I genuinely believe if it doesn't feel right, you should always leave it. As I said before, the one guarantee you've got in trading is if you don't take a trade, you won't lose a penny. So it doesn't bother me that if I decide to leave this and it went off for 50 points. It really doesn't, because I've realized over time, if I listen to that voice and that experience in my head, when something doesn't feel right, it takes care of me. You know what I mean? And I've just known that how many trades I win now compared to how many I lose. Yes, you take less, but if you think before, when I was taking more, I was taking so much more losses, and losses more or less always cost you more than your wins, because you always leave your stop there to get hit. But chances are, if it goes into profit, you're wanting to get out and take less profit. It's just kind of how we kind of work. So I think you get to a place where you kind of find some sort of balance. And I feel like I'm there at the moment. I felt that before, though, but I've been this kind of balance for a while now. So although I definitely take less trades, I take less losses. And obviously, as my experience of reading the charts and, certain setups that I don't take now, but I'm trying to learn about, they'll slowly creep up and maybe they'll take a bit more. So let's have a look. So we've got back to the EMA here. We've got a higher low. It's triggered. We've come down. So there's a possible failure there. Trouble is, I don't like taking a failure like that when we're at the tops, because I'm guessing that it's going to continue up. Sometimes when we hit these kind of previous levels where traders may have gone in, sometimes it can go a little bit like that. But at the moment, it's still going a bit sideways. But as it's so far, it's holding there. I think the chances of it going up are pretty good. But I used to that suffer with getting in a little bit prematurely. I'd get in, get stopped out, the thing would take off. I'd get in here, everyone else would get in up here. So that bar there, the higher low there, what's going to happen here? My guess is it's probably going to have a quick spike down and take that out. Maybe that might be safe because it's kind of tucked in tight to that EMA, but that may get hit. Or it may just take off, who knows? I took a trade like this last week. I got in here, it hit the top here and shot down, and I got out for, I think, about 3 ticks, and it ended up dropping. So I don't like getting in when it's past the top or at the top, because if it's going to fail, this is where it's going to do it. My guess is that'll probably continue on, but that's just an educated guess as opposed to I'm confident that's what's going to happen. I suppose what you could do when you say a swing trader won't benefit, no, they won't really. But what you could do is slow the process down and maybe trade the 5,000 tick chart or 10,000 tick chart. Same setups, but it kind of moves a little bit slower, and your trades are a little bit more time. I have heard some people say newer traders or new traders shouldn't scalp. I mean, trading in general, especially when you're newish, is emotional, but I think the faster the moving, the quicker your money can get whipped out of your account. That makes it even more emotional, doesn't it? So, I do wonder whether I traded maybe a slower moving chart, whether it would help or not, I don't know, but I have these ideas, and I always tend to come back to Pat's. It's kind of what I've been doing for the last 4.5 years. So, you know what they say, stick to what you know. We all think there's probably easy ways or better ways. Maybe there is. But, until you do it and try it, you never know. So let's see what that first leg could look like. So leg up would take us up to this level, which we're not far off now. So I wouldn't take that anyway. Yeah, I think it's a fair indication that price could continue up, but it's 14 ticks. We're up against it. Whenever we get to the midline, we tend to work back. So you're going long right into that midline, so it could take off, but I'd rather get in earlier and down here somewhere. Unfortunately, there's nothing really I fancied. So that big bar off is now triggered and it's working back, but is this just a breakout pullback? So looking at bookmap, I'd say there's a good chance price is going to continue up. They're up as kind of far as 90, which is up here. But you can see these orders, it generally veers towards them. Now, it doesn't mean it'll definitely get there. There may be some big sell orders, aggressive orders that may just decide to jump in and push it in the opposite direction. But usually, the more I look at this, the more I see generally it starts to drift towards this area. It kind of gets sucked up. So 87.5 and 90, I'm guessing it's probably going to get there. So 87.5 is where they kind of, funny enough, that's right at that measured move. So sell orders right at that measured move. See, is that I said 87.5 exactly there. Is that just random? I'd say it isn't. I've got that perfect. So my guess is it's going to continue on up. But there's no, it may have a break first. Who knows? So if you took that big bull bar there, it wouldn't be looking so rosy now, would it? It's bull bar, high or low, failure. But we've come down and touched the bottom of that channel and moved up. So see, that may trap some shorts. I can't see any traders short in that really just at the moment. Trade in the yes. Want to get at least 5 points. I enter a trade. Need a predetermined price level. Yeah, there's so many different ways to look at taking a trade. You can still trade kind of pats, but go for, you can go for whatever you want really, if there's a reason behind it and you've got a plan in and behind it. Some people want to get in and out as quick as possible. Other people want to try and. But I did read a professional trader once said the difference between inexperienced traders and experienced traders is experienced traders, when they see a trade going against them, they get out of it quick. And when they get into a good trade, they milk it for everything they can. Inexperienced traders tend to do the opposite. When they get into a trade and it goes against them, they don't want to get out of it. They want to give it more space. And then when they get into a winning trade, as soon as it starts to get green, they're trying to get out of it because they're thinking, let's get something while I've got it. And I've been guilty of that myself plenty in the past. So there's nothing wrong with going for more. We're all kind of guessing where prices are going up towards these tops. So if you get into something here, you know, I absolutely get the theory about getting up to the tops, whether you just leave it or whether you follow it up per swing. You know, Price uses these levels all the time. You know, if you get rid of this and put the line chart, it's, you know, it's quite easy to spot these levels. There's just one there. You can see that. Look at that. It's respected it there. It's respected it there, there. And these charts, you know, Price bounces between these. So if you understand these, you know, these levels, but it just there's just one there. And if you take it up, I'm guessing there's probably going to be another there. So you can see it there, probably a bit more. You can see it there, around there, here, and twice, well, 3 times up there. So it is surprising how, you know, if you take a bit of time and look at these levels, it's surprising how they sort of, you know, and it gives you an edge. That's how I kind of, when I started trading with currency, that's the first thing we did was mark levels. So if we went long gear above a level, chances are it'd move up to the next level. So, you know, there's so many different ways to skin a cat, isn't there? I don't know where that saying came from, but it's not the most pleasant one, is it? But, so next place I reckon will be that 87.5 level, which is the measured move. Looks like we're heading back to the high. Absolutely, it does. That's what I'm thinking. Whether it'll push straight there or whether it'll take a couple of legs before it moves up, we'll never really know. But we're getting close to that measured move. I'm confident we'll hit that measured move because I can see a bunch of orders up there. And I can see them at 90, kind of this next level. You can see 90 as well. That's kind of working that way. Trouble is, there's not much to the left because we're getting close to all-time highs again, but you just don't know whether it decides to take a break here before it pushes up. I got no idea. In fact, talking about taking a break, I'm just going to say a quick 5 minutes. Quick 5 minutes, make a cup of tea, and I'll be back with you. much, has it? Into enter short here. My guess is, just looking at bookmap, is it's probably going to get to this measured move. So whether it does it now or whether it has a break, it is struggling to get up. So sometimes it'll do that and then just flick. Other times it'll come down. So I got no idea at the moment. So you're looking at bookmap. There are all some orders here about in the middle here. I'd say around about 83, maybe a fraction higher. So let's say 83 for argument's sake, which is about there. So it may have a quick flick down and take out a couple of, I don't know really. I'm just staying out of this at the moment. I don't know. Could have a drop, could continue up. Slow in it. Slow and boring. You know, Alpine's got battered today. All 5 of his Apex accounts. He's having a rough time he is lately. He seems to do really well for a while and then just tends to get crucified. Okay, another 4 ticks and we'll let this measured move and some orders. Okay. Picked up some of them orders. Did that measured move. So it went where we kind of thought it would. Now, what's it going to do? There is some at 90 and a touch higher. Probably going to try and test these at this area. Whether it gets up here or not, I don't know. There, I'd say so. So lots of buy orders sitting around here now. So they've just come in around about the 6 or so, which is around about here. So as we hit this measured move, maybe you get a bearish bar here, some shorts get in here, it comes down, traps them, buyers jump in here, push this thing back up, who knows? That's a theory. Whether it works or not is a different matter. So those buy orders are around about the 7 and a bit. So around about here. So we've pushed above it. It's got the failure. Play with the new Starlink on sale. Starlink. Not sure what that is. Okay, see if these buyers come in here. Buyers around here. Okay, bearish bar. It's triggered. Picked up some of them buyers, but there are more down here. This kind of area. So breakout pullback. Bearish bar triggered. Pushed up, stopped out. I'm guessing that's what's going to happen anyway. Okay, so if you took that short there, thinking the top measured move, triggered you, pushed up, stopped you out. Another bearish bar, but that hasn't triggered on this side. So you expect it to come to a grinding halt up here somewhere. Not easy trading this. It's nothing I can really see there. Trouble is, you know, I looked at that, I considered it, but there's just no room to the highs. There wasn't even a point. The trouble is there's a higher low, but then you're in a bit of a congestion. So you want to go long right into the top. It's not ideal. It did hold, but you just couldn't take it, in my opinion. So, you know, you're thinking, are we just going to have a break new high and this comes down? So you've always got that possibility. But then there's a triple test there. A couple have took that. Some won it. I think Taylor lost it, and then we take off. That's the trouble is it's hard to know what's going on here. That's why I left it, because it's just giving us mixed signals, really. It's not super clear. And in the end, it ended up just acting like a range. That was the issue I had when we had a kind of a double bounce right at the lows. Is it going to act like a range and push up, or is it going to act like a channel, have a break and a new low? So the latter seemed to me, which is why I stayed out of it. And in the end, you know, yeah, it's easy to see that. It's easy for Mac to say, you know, there's a hidden second entry long there or a failure or whatever, and it took off. Well, I'd have taken that if I'd have realised it was going to go up. Channel break, new low, bullish bar. I wouldn't take it. It's massive. You don't know what's going to happen, but it worked. So you can mark it. You know what I mean? Sort of channel break, matching low, look like a, you know, higher low, bull bar higher low, take it. Trouble is, it's into the highs. But it worked. It's easy when you know where it went. It's the trick is trading when you don't know where it's going next. Sam Smith, how you doing, my friend? No, nothing as yet, mate. It's not been the easiest, really. I was looking for something around here, but unfortunately, it never happened. And then we just had this. You don't know there whether when we have that break, is this a new high and this thing's going to come down? But just not the easiest of days. It's not been a great 2 weeks. Week before last, I had a really good week. Trouble is, when we're this close to the top, if you're riding this up, there's bound to be profit taking just before the top. That's the way I see it. And if I look at Bookmap, I can see chunk of orders around the 87.5, which is not yet. No, Dan hasn't taken anything today. Not easy, really. But yeah, you don't know whether it's going to slip down here. See that bull bar there? It's triggered. Take out the stop there. Take out the stop there. A little bit of a pullback into this area, 87-ish, which is just below that bar here. And then maybe buyers jumping back in to ride it to the top. Who knows? Also be a spike up and take all the orders. It's hard to say, really, mate, isn't it? What I will say at the moment, it's just a bit congested here. I wouldn't want to be in that long. It's too close to the top to go long there. It's too far from that EMA, but it just may work. But it's clearly stacking up, really. The only way to get into a possible long if we want to is down here somewhere, really, unfortunately, but may not get it. It may push up. See, as the way I see this, I see this open. We had these two pushes up and then it been slowly coming down. So I dare say there's probably traders shorting this, thinking this is going to be a bearish day or whatever. So sometimes when it gets closer there, it doesn't quite break those highs. But looking at the bigger picture, we had this big move up and then we had kind of a bit of a correction. There's no sort of obvious sort of pattern I can see, really. We could just going to end up ranging today. It's not super clear. Hey. Okay, so highs of the day are up at 94, so we're about 2.5 points away. Will it reach it? Okay, if it was me, I'd be thinking about taking profits up here. So I expect a bit of a pullback. Sometimes they don't get it. You know, sometimes traders are rock solid. They'll put the stop there, however they do it, and just let it go. They don't mind that pulling back a bit. I'm a bit of a coward. I just want to try and get a bit. But if you look at Thomas Wade, trade his runners, he'll move it to the stop, move it to the swing, move it to the swing, move it to. He doesn't mind it coming down and losing this section. I'm kind of, if I had runners, I'd be a little bit like Wilson. I'd be moving it up every tick, you know, trying to just squeeze every little bit, just in case it decides to shoot back down on me. But you know, I suppose professional traders, they've got a certain method, and they kind of leave it and move it, follow it up. Everyone's got their own kind of way of doing things. God, so slow. This like 15 minutes here, these few bars. So any short here, if you took that short, triggered it, stopped it out, you took that short, triggered it, it's moving up. So picking tops, or trying to pick a top, is near damn impossible, because you never know where it's going to turn, do you? So measured move comfortably made. So you have to think now, targeting the top of what looks like so far just a range there. We've gone up, we've come down, we've gone up. You can do it here, unfortunately. What time is it? In fact, I might knock on the head till it's. I just have a feeling about today. So I've done 2.5 hours on stream, and I sat here for an hour before. So I've done 3.5 hours. I might go and start the dinner, I think. I might come back for an hour later. It's just so slow in it. So I'm going to leave you folks to it. So I appreciate your company. It's nice to have a chat sometimes. We had a good chat about a few things earlier, mainly about Mac and that sort of stuff. It's nice to open up and have a good natter. So I'm going to leave you guys to it. Best of luck. I hope you get a setup. Have a great evening. Stay safe. We're back tomorrow. Bye for now.